In Formula One, the absolute pinnacle of motorsport, your greatest ally should be the person driving the exact same car as you. But here's the twist. In the brutal, ruthless pursuit of a world championship, that same person often becomes your most bitter enemy. Today, we're going to get into exactly why.
So what is it about this sport? What's the magic ingredient that transforms friendships and professional respect into all-out war on the racetrack? That's really the core question we're digging into, looking at the intense human drama happening behind the visor.
To really understand these rivalries, you first have to get a feel for the environment they're born in. It's not just about driving a car really, really fast. It's about surviving one of the most extreme physical and mental tests in all of sports. It's a total pressure cooker.
Okay, try to imagine this. The force of 5 times your own body weight just crushing you. That's the kind of G-force F1 drivers have to deal with in the corners, lap after lap after lap. We're talking a level of physical strain that's right up there with military fighter pilots. It is insane.
And this, right here, shows you the brutal reality of that strain. To fight against these forces, drivers build up this incredible, almost superhuman neck strength. Without it, they physically wouldn't even be able to hold their head up to see where they're going.
So while they're getting pummeled by G-forces, they're also essentially being cooked. The engine is right behind them, and the cockpit temperatures can just soar past 50 degrees Celsius. That's 122 Fahrenheit. Drivers can sweat out over 3% of their body weight in just one race, all while wearing layers of fireproof gear.
And the pressure? It's not just on the driver. Oh no, it extends to the entire team, especially in moments like the pit stop. You're watching this perfectly synchronized ballet of about 20 people, all changing 4 tires in less than 3 seconds. You get it right, you can win the race. But you get it wrong, and an entire season's worth of work can just evaporate.
And this quote from a season finale? It just captures one of those championship-defining moments perfectly. One perfect pit stop, 2.7 seconds, under the most intense pressure you can imagine, and that's what secured the title. It just goes to show, in F1, every single tiny detail matters.
So, when you're trapped in that pressure cooker, who is your ultimate benchmark? Who's your yardstick for performance? It's the only other person in the entire world with the exact same equipment as you, your teammate. And it's this dynamic that has fueled some of the most legendary, most bitter conflicts in the history of the sport.
Senna versus Prost. This is the one, the quintessential F1 rivalry. Their time together as McLaren teammates in the late 80s was just explosive. It went from on-track incidents to controversial championship-deciding collisions in Japan. It was this epic battle of ego, of skill, of philosophy that totally defined an era. And interestingly, it only really softened into a friendship after the fight was finally over.
Now, the story of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, it's like a modern tragedy of sporting friendship. These guys were best friends from their karting days, but once they were paired up at a dominant Mercedes team with a championship on the line, that bond just completely fractured. It turned toxic fast, leading to collisions on track and just this intense, bitter tension off it.
Sometimes an entire rivalry can be defined by a single, strange phrase. This coded message, Multimap 21, became absolutely infamous in the battle between Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber at Red Bull. On the surface, it was supposed to be a simple instruction.
But it was anything but simple. The code was a clear team order. Car 2, Webber, is ahead of Car 1, Vettel. Hold your position. But Vettel, he just ignored it. He attacked and passed Webber to snatch the win. It was this blatant act of defiance that completely shattered their working relationship. And, really, it was a key reason why Webber decided to leave F1.
So what happens when a reigning 2-time world champion's ego gets challenged by a sensational rookie in the same team? You get the 2007 McLaren season. It was pure chaos. Fernando Alonso came in expecting to be the #1 driver, but this rookie, Lewis Hamilton, was on his pace immediately. The internal war became so destructive that the fallout actually contributed to the infamous Spygate scandal, which ultimately cost the team a record-breaking $100 million fine.
Yeah, these rivalries don't just simmer along quietly. They explode. They create these flashpoints, these moments that get replayed for decades. But that constant battle, it takes a heavy toll. Winning, as it turns out, can cost you absolutely everything.
All right, let's break down one of the most controversial title deciders of all time, the final race of 1994. So, Michael Schumacher is leading Damon Hill by just 1 point. Schumacher makes a mistake, goes off, and hits the wall.
He'll seize his chance. This is it, the pass for the championship. But as he goes for it, Schumacher turns in. They collide, they're both out. And just like that, Schumacher is the champion. Was it just a racing incident, or was it something more? To this day, fans will argue about it.
The sheer intensity of these fights can be career-ending. Seriously. Nigel Mansell literally retired rather than team up with his rival Prost. Mark Webber left the sport after the betrayal of Multimap 21. And maybe most famously, after pouring every ounce of his being into finally beating Lewis Hamilton in 2016, Nico Rosberg was so mentally and physically drained that he just retired. 5 days later, he said he had nothing left to give.
Which brings us right back to our central question. In a world with this much pressure, where glory is measured in thousands of a second, maybe your teammate isn't your partner at all. Maybe, just maybe, they're simply the last and most difficult opponent you have to beat.